Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to the special report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture on the internet. Come up in the show today, the PS5 reveal, or the games reveal, has finally taken place, and let's just say there's a lot to get to, which we will, including some of the specs of the system, something that we've learned about the system, some things we haven't, the price point or the release date, and the games that they showed off, which are plenty of them. We're going to talk about all this in the OC Remix Track of the Day in the special report, which starts right now. Well, the PS5 finally got their games revealed today, or yesterday, or within a week, or depending on when you saw this, on the 11th of 2020. It got delayed a little bit because, and I believe this is a real reason, because they didn't have a few of their tech demos ready. However, we now have a slew of different games that are going to be either launching with the system or launching in next year in 2021. First of all, let's get to the reveal of the console look itself. We know about the DualSense controller and a little space age. They had a little bit of more information about what exactly it's going to include, and as a USB port, I don't understand why that was a big deal for them to say that it was there. It kind of needs a USB port in order for you to be able to charge the freaking thing. So why did they say that that was a thing? I don't understand, unless there's something more to that, like you could plug in your phone or something like that. They didn't really say anything to that. They're really weird with how they're revealing this stuff. They said there was a March reveal, but there's no real video about what exactly anybody said about it. And any place I go to is now bringing me back to what was revealed today. So yeah, that's going to be a little weird to get the full specs of this. We do know it's going to have a solid state drive. Now, I do need to apologize for, because when Microsoft said something about their Project Scorpio at last year's E3, and they said SSD, I thought, why would it help out in the form of video gaming except to load or to boot? And now I understand why. It is the load times when you go to load from level to level or whatever. It is super fast in loading your games up and loading different spots of the game, and that is significantly faster. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a such thing as a hybrid solid state drive and a mechanical drive. I know Seagate does those sort of things, but it's kind of like fell off the map in a way. Like, it's, unless you get absolutely told about it, you probably don't remember that there even is such a thing. And the reason why I say this is that I'm still a little taken aback by how this is going to affect the price of the system. Now, of course, you can replace the solid state drive with any type of SSD you want. If it's a 1 terabyte, you find a 4 terabyte somewhere, provided it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg at this point. You could go ahead and replace that. If that's your prerogative, go ahead and do that. I wouldn't recommend it at this point unless they drop down the price. I have seen that some solid state drives will not cost you a whole lot of money. The one thing I'm going to question is whether or not it's one of the block type SSDs that we usually see, that you usually put into the 2.5 drive bays, or is it one of those things that you plug directly into your motherboard and it operates in that fashion. I would like to know which ones they're going to go for, or if you can use either. It remains to be seen. It'd be kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it'll make a difference or not, but that is something that I would be curious of knowing about. We also know that it's going to be backwards compatible with most, and I stress it, with most PS4 games. We don't know the extent that it is PC compatible, but in a sense, I do believe that unless it is way early in the PS4's lifespan, you could probably play it on the PS5. That's going to create a bit of an interesting thing as to whether or not people will want to trade in the PS4 for a PS5. That's going to remain kind of a sticking point of whether or not it's going to have a special upgrade price or not, because we do feel as though it's going to have a near $500 price tag. They didn't reveal the price here. They did reveal the look of the PS5, and I gotta say, it looks like it has horns on the top. And the it does look like with this one, it's going to be beneficial to set it upright instead of on its side. And the pads, you can do the PlayStation systems either on their side or upright. They give you the option. Here, it's going to probably be that it's going to have to be upright because of the design of this. And they also showed a lot of peripherals for it, sort of the standard. You got your controller, of course, you got the headset, you have might be VR. I'm not quite sure that they show that yet, if that's going to be included or if it's going to be something that's going to be that the PS4 VR set is going to be backwards compatible, that you can use just that. And they also showed something really interesting, which is a digital only version of the PS5. If this is a case, then I don't think that the PS4 backwards compatibility is going to really work on that system unless they have a sort of thing in place where you can say, hey, I own this game or that game on the PS4, give me a digital version of the game on the PS5. I doubt that's going to be the case, but if you are looking for the backwards compatibility, I do believe you do want to go with the disc-based thing. Not saying that the disc-based version is going to not have digital compatibility, of course it's going to, but it's sort of interesting that they did reveal that particular thing here. Not only that, but they did also reveal a few other things about the system, including the idea of ray tracing, which is basically how light reflects off of certain objects and is going to be adaptive to what they're reflecting in the world. It's kind of a weird thing to explain. However, if you see it in action, you'll probably know what we're talking about. Haptic feedback, I'm not quite sure how to really explain it because I'm looking at it, I'm seeing some things about it, and I'm still quite unsure what exactly it's supposed to really do. And I might be dumb for not understanding what that even means, but if someone can please explain that for me, I would really appreciate that. And of course, we all know about the solid state drive and the 3D audio, which is kind of standard in today's systems and in today's PCs. One thing that I did not see outside of everything else, including the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, 60 FPS. They made no mention of this either in the March reveal or now. Where is that? Are we going to see that as a standard? That is a big thing that a lot of people care about, and that's something that Sony put out a PS4 Pro specifically for that. Well, the 4K as well, but the 60 FPS is a huge sticking point, and it might be a deal breaker for some people. So you got to say something about that now, so we know what's going on and whether or not there are plans to have 60 FPS gaming as a standard in this system. And trust me, you can have all the games in the world. You can say you have all the games that you want to play. If it's not 60 FPS, some people will turn away and will boycott those games that they would rather play, and they would play if it were in 60 FPS. It is that much of a sticking point to some people, so you have to say something about that, and you have to say something about that immediately. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the games, because that's what everybody was there for. And the first one that gets revealed, oh wow, can we please just move on to the next GTA already? They revealed 2021 that GTA 5 is going to be on the PS5. And apparently, if you're playing on the PS4, you can get $1 million in credits for GTA Online until this thing launches. Can we please just move on to the next GTA? Is this the only GTA we're ever going to see again? How many times are they going to milk this game? How many times are we going to see them re-release this? This came out in 2013, September 17th, 2013. We are yet to see a sequel, a true sequel to this game. Is it GTA Online that I'm missing out of all of this? Is that what I'm missing here? Is that the one thing that I need to go to further my GTA experience at this point? Is that the only thing Rockstar's gonna ever put out again in the GTA world is what's on their online service? As much as I think a lot of people would love to see GTA Online be continued, I'm ready for a GTA 6. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for them to say, hey, we're coming out with a brand new GTA game, a standalone game, a single player experience. I'm ready for them to do that because I'm getting a little bit tired of them milking this game. But of course, I might be in the minority because because some people are buying it. There are people who are still buying this game, and they're still buying new versions of this game. And apparently, if they're going to release this in 2021 at this huge big deal, then I don't see Rockstar doing anything in order to address the notion that we might want a sequel by now. I would love to see him go back to maybe Vice City or maybe the Midwest. They haven't gone there before. Or maybe go to another country, go back to Britain or China, something like that. But to milk this thing and then to see that as a huge deal, what else can they milk out of this besides money and profit? Maybe I'm answering my own question there. We got a new trailer for the upcoming Spider-Man game Miles Morales, and it looks really cool. I would like to see if they're going to do the same type of open worldness that, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be this way, that we saw in the original Spider-Man game on the PS4. I wonder if people are going to complain that Spider-Man is helping the cops in this one, because they did that last time Reset Era, and that's all I'm going to say about that, because this is going to be about the games here, okay? But I'm always open for more Spider-Man. That seems to be the Marvel superhero right now. Good for them, because I always loved Spider-Man. I've always loved the web crawler. I always wanted to see them do more with him. We also got to see oh yes, finally, a Gran Turismo game that is not that freaking sport game. An actual sequel to Gran Turismo. And the cockpit viewpoint of this was really interesting. I don't know how I feel about the speedometer, how they're displaying that on the HUD, or about the car that this guy's driving, because it does look like that when he's braking, it feels like the muffler's about to fall off. But other than that, I feel as though this is something that I'm going to want to play a lot. This is probably going to be the one game that makes me want to buy a PS5, because on the Xbox One, I did try Forza Motorsport, and it's not the same game. I wanted a simulation in the style of how Gran Turismo 5 A-Spec did theirs, and I heard that GT6 was not exactly the best GT in the world, and then GT Sport decided to move away from that simulation style, or at least that's what it looked like. This seems to be going back to where it all began, where A-Spec was like. And maybe I'm screwing it up, maybe it's GT3 that they called A-Spec, but GT5 nailed this. It nailed the driving simulation where you can buy more cars, you can keep going in races, and to up your collection, and that's something that I loved about the GT series. I want to see more of that, and I do believe that what they showed, it's going to be amazing what they're going to do. Hopefully it holds up. Hopefully they don't do something stupid with this. Other things, new Ratchet & Clank game, which they seem to be banking on. I've only played one Ratchet & Clank game. I do know a lot of people like them. Maybe I'll try this one. I haven't really had the chance to try one outside of Up Your Arsenal, but maybe I'll look at this one, see how it is. I'm not really familiar with the RNC series. Maybe I'll see what this is all about. They showed something called Stray, which has a stray cat which meowed, and just from the meow, I do know a few people that will go out and buy a PS5 just for this one. We also saw Square Enix's entry into the PlayStation 5, saying that they designed this thing exclusively for the PlayStation 5 called Project Athia, and it looks like it's going to be open world, some sort of open world magical type of game. And yeah, not much was said about that other than it's designed exclusively for PlayStation 5, but it is Square Enix, and they usually kind of bring it when it comes to making games, so we'll see how this goes. Usually you can't go wrong with Square Enix. You usually don't completely miss the mark here, although I'm wondering whether or not Final Fantasy XIV or a new Final Fantasy game will be on the system at some point. Good to see a new IP from them though. Let's see how it goes. It really looks like a Skyrim sort of magical Skyrim type of thing. I want to know more about this. Again, it is Square Enix, so not too many bad things can go wrong there. Not sure much about the company's practices, but at least when it comes to their games, they seem to really know what they're doing. They showed something for something called Kena, which Graphically, it looks kind of interesting, although it does look like a cross between Folklore, if you remember that game from the early days of the PS3, and I'm going to kick myself as that was one of the few games on the PS3 that got overlooked. That was such a good game that has such some good mechanics. I wish they would do something to bring that game back in a way, but that did give me sort of a Folklore or a Shadow of Colossus vibe with some of the monsters that they showed there. A more Saturday morning cartoon animated type game called Goodbye Volcano High. Didn't really tell me a whole lot about the game itself or about the story, but it looks interesting. I might see what that's about. That looked kind of intriguing, although again, I don't know much about the story right in the moment. I didn't really pick up too much about that. Then they got to the new Oddworld game, which I haven't really been into Oddworld outside of the first game, and I feel as though that's because it went to a system that I didn't pick up at that point in time. I think they went with Xbox for a while, and they didn't really go back to any other system for a long time. I believe this is the first one I've seen that they went back to a system other than a Microsoft system or a PC system. We then got our trailer for Ghostwire Tokyo, which seems as though it's going to be one of those action horror games. This guy is doing powers through his hands and doesn't look like he's doing much in the way of using guns or anything like that, so that's sort of a change. However, look who the publisher is. Yeah, Bethesda. That's going to cause some people's heads to turn the other way. We'll see how that goes. Maybe Bethesda has finally said, hey, the things we're doing are not exactly making people want to buy our games. We got our first look at Jet, which is about the slowest reveal for a title I've ever seen in a trailer. As in, how many lines do you have to do for me in order to let me see what the title of the game is? This seems like a space exploration type of game, though who did that before and promised a lot of good things and never really delivered? No Man's Sky, which that too was space exploration and promised a lot of things and never really delivered. Although I had heard that No Man's Sky has gotten a lot better in recent months or maybe recent years. Maybe it's worth it to go back and give it a second chance, though I'm not sure if I trust that, though I didn't trust Final Fantasy XIV when somebody suggested that to me either, and now I can't get enough of it, so maybe the same might be true for that. Let's hope Jet does what No Man's Sky didn't do, which is to not suck at launch. But looking through these images, at least graphically, it's not going to do that in a graphical sense. Let's hope they deliver on everything else. Gearbox has his own entry in Godfall, who, judging from the trailer, what exactly is this game? It seems like a generic type of open world game or something like that. I have no idea why they make trailers like this where it's like, go do this and collect these armors and become a master or whatever it is. Just show us the gameplay. What is it about trailers that do stuff like that, that try to advertise a game like that? That seems like it's a tactic that you would find on a mobile game or a pay-to-win game or something like that. Not of a huge AAA title like this, although this is Gearbox we're talking about, so I'm not sure if I'm going to expect much out of them. Got a trailer for Solar Ash, which looks like a really cool aesthetic, a really cool cel-shaded game. Not much was shown of this outside of some pretty imagery, so can't really make a big judge on this one, but it does look kind of interesting. I'd like to know more about what this game is about in order for me to judge whether or not it's something I want to pick up. Just from the graphics or the aesthetic, maybe it's something I might want to look into. However, again, we need to know more about the game in order for me to want to pick that up and invest in it. Before that, though, I did want to go back and pick up some of the ones I did miss. There was a lot of them that were revealed here, so please forgive me if I miss one or two of those, because there's a lot of them that were revealed, and I do want to keep this under 20 minutes or 30 minutes if at all possible, so forgive me if I miss one or two of them. I will try to go back and get some of them. Returnal was probably the most graphical heavy of the games, although some of the imagery in this trailer gave me a bit of a headache with how much it was flashing, so maybe they want to look at that. Other than that, it just seems like one of those type of horror games, and sort of like they're trying to capitalize on how good Death Stranding seemed to be received. Maybe it had more mixed reviews than maybe I remember, but at least it did well, so people are trying to catch its fire, and Returnal seemed to be one of those things where they tried to capture that whole one person in this huge vast world. It was graphically good, though. I do give it that. One other one was Sackboy, A Big Avenger. Did anybody else thought this was going to be a Garfield game before they revealed it was going to be Sackboy, the way that they revealed the costume he was wearing? Yeah. I wish it was a Little Big Planet 4, the way that this was a true 3D platformer. Imagine if they did something like that for a new Little Big Planet game. Wow, that would be amazing. Maybe they have the capacity to do this, although there's probably going to be a more linear type game that you don't create any kind of levels or something like that. There wasn't much that was revealed other than the fact that Sackboy had a few of his friends with him, but yeah, I didn't really get to play Little Big Planet 3. Admittedly, I do want to play it at some point, but I never really got the time to do it. I did play the first two Little Big Planet games and had a lot of fun with those, though. If they would make something like this of a true Little Big Planet game in which somebody would be able to make true 3D levels out of stuff like this, I would be so game on that. That would be an amazing thing they could put on the PS5. Assuming this is not it. We don't know much about this other than what they showed. However, I would be wanting this as a true LBP game. They showed a battle kart game, Destruction All-Stars, more of like a Destruction Derby, Demolition Derby, than a battle kart type of thing. But other than their trailer for this, I didn't really see that much in the way of actual gameplay there, just the trailer. And the word All-Stars makes me think that they have Sony game characters that are going to appear in that, though they didn't really show that if that's the case, so that's all I know about that. And I'm gonna try to hit some of the bigger ones that were revealed from here on out. Hitman was revealed here, and they really banked on this one because of the type of trailer. It looks really good. If the game plays as good as the trailer does here, this would probably be the first Hitman game I would really pick up and play right from the get-go, because I'm not one to have ever played any of the Hitman games before. I don't know the last one I ever played of any of them, but I might start with this one because it looks damn good. Like, wow, did they ever show something with this, and it really piqued my interest on this one. Asher's Playroom, which is more of a sort of like cutesy type of platformer game. Kind of interesting, though not much shown there. They also showed NBA 2K21, and at least it's 2K and not EA, though I'm not sure how much better 2K is right now with what they pulled last year with the whole gambling thing. You know, do that same thing here. Expect some YouTubers named Angry Joe to get all up in arms about that one. Little Devil Inside, which kind of looks like a poor man's Skyrim. It looks neat. I really like the graphical aesthetic about this. It looks like that if you were trying to make Skyrim, but you didn't have the budget, but you had the aspiration and wanted to put out something that's still looking really, really good, then maybe this might be something you might want to look at least on the surface. And then they showed the trailer for Bud Snacks. I'm probably going to pick up the game just for the fact of the theme and the concept of this, and the fact that we had what looked like a walking strawberry that somebody ate and then their hand became a strawberry. This one's gonna be a weird one. I don't know what to make of this game, but I'm surely am intrigued by it, because I'm the type of guy who's going to pick up a weird game like this. No joke, I probably would. New Demon Souls, which really sounds really weird coming out of somebody's mouth, the way that they had the grammar with this. But yeah, another Demon Souls game it seems we're getting. Bethesda had another entry called Time Loop, which dealt with rival assassins and the idea of rewinding time if you die in order to correct the mistakes that you made in the last go round. I can't remember, there was another game game that did this recently. I can't remember the name of it now. Maybe it was Quantum Break on Xbox One. I think that's what it was, but I can't remember exactly if the last one that tried it, if that was one that tried this sort of time travel based thing that they were doing. But this does look interesting. However, it is Bethesda. We know a little bit about what kind of business practices they've had recently, so let's wait and see what exactly comes out of it. I'm hoping that I'm just being paranoid about it, but this sort of looks like a great concept, though it could screw it up. I'm afraid they might screw it up. It's just Bethesda after all. We got our first look, maybe the first look. I don't remember if we ever got the glimpse of Resident Evil 8, but if we haven't, this is the first time we've seen it, called Village, and I don't know, I haven't really followed the Resident Evil games outside of the remakes and the original, like, PS1 games, and up to maybe Resident Evil 4. I played a little bit of 5, but after that, it seems like kind of fell out of the series, so I don't know, maybe the whole thing with, oh, it's gonna come to a close, his story will come to a close, whose story? The only clue is maybe we got a little bit of a glimpse of Chris Redfield at the end of that, but outside of that, it didn't really look as though there was any recognizable characters in the game, and even Chris didn't look that recognizable. Then we got the other Capcom entry into this, Pragmata, and this seemed to be the third-party PS5 tech demo because it really showed the ray tracing on this. I really liked how they made the street look absolutely realistic. The lighting was superior to anything I saw so far in any of these trailers, and the way that they made the girl look absolutely realistic, and how they seem to suddenly change the world, and how they glitched out the world, and how the end of the trailer was like when they looked at the Earth from the moon. They were sitting right on top of the moon. This seemed as though graphically, probably one of the better games that we've seen in this whole presentation so far. Not too much about what the game's really about so far. I thought that when the astronaut, seemed like an astronaut, started looking at the blue particles, that this was going to be another Division game, but lo and behold, we got our difference there in more ways than one, I might add. This was graphically probably one of the better games I've seen out of the third party in this presentation so far. Then Sony probably brought a lot of people's joy to their faces of a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. This one, Horizon 2 Forbidden West. This makes me be reminded that I might want to go back and play more Horizon Zero Dawn, because I bought it and I played it, I never got to finish it. Now's a very good time for those people who have not finished Horizon Zero Dawn to go back and play that game and get caught up on the story, because wow, did they ever show off the graphical capabilities of this. If this turns out to be the actual PS5 hardware doing this and not pre-rendered, wow. That was the final game that they showed off, and I think I know why they waited till the last reveal to show that one off, because Pragmata and Horizon 2 Forbidden West seems to be the two big games that really show off what the PS5 can really do. And if that's something that the solid state drive is going to be able to load just in a flash, then I think Sony is going to be in a good spot this time. I think if they don't screw things up like they were as far as the censorship and stuff like that we kept hearing about, and they actually open some things back up and stop listening to people like Reset Era, then they might be better off if they stop doing that kind of stuff and start listening to, you know, the majority of people who are actually playing their games and not just complaining about whatever it is that is on the list that day. But I digress. This was actually a good showing. There were a few games there that I might want to wait a little bit in order to see what comes of it. Some of them that were just little teasers to get your palate wet. Others were, oh wow, I might want to pick this up when it comes out. Definitely Gran Turismo. I really wanted to get a new Gran Turismo that actually is not that sport thing, and not something like Forza Motorsport's doing. I don't know what they're doing. It's not the same thing. It's not the same type of experience that Gran Turismo gives you, and I hope that's what they're giving you there. Some of them are really odd concepts, like that Bug Snack game. I might want to pick it up just for the fact that it looks really weird enough for me to want to pick that up. The one thing that I wish it would address though is if their games are going to be 60 FPS as a standard. Again, that's one of the big ones. That's one of the big sticking points. People will pass it up if it's not 60 FPS. I'm telling you, some people are that stubborn. I'm not one of those people. I can live without it as long as it's a good game. I might overlook it, but I know a lot of people will not. And I'm warning people right now, I'm warning Sony right now, they got to come through with that. They gotta really seriously address it in a serious way to make people believe that they are serious about answering that question and are treating people's concerns seriously. We still need a price point, we still need answers to that 60 FPS thing, but I thought this was a good reveal. I would really love them to really focus on more of the tech specs, because I don't know if there's anybody who could really find those without doing a thorough Google search about it, because we didn't really see that reveal in March. Who knew that they were actually revealing something like that? So anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of Special Report. Sorry it was a little bit long, but there was a lot to get to here. Please, if you liked what you see, please go and hit that subscribe button, like what you see from our Geek Gaming Culture. Ring the bell as well so you can be notified of when I put out stuff like this. Before I go, I want to give you the OC remix track of the day. We've been doing this for quite a while, and they've been putting out a lot of new stuff on YouTube lately, so I'm going to try to hit some of those up now, and trying to hit up a PS3 game that appeared on the PS3. And since we had Demon Souls that was revealed, let's do a Dark Souls remix, and something that is nice and cool and chill, because quite frankly we kind of need that right now. This is from Orphanin, I think I'm pronouncing that right, called Fire Fade With Me. Until next time, stay safe out there, because I want you to be here next time I do a video. My name is Shady Shadow, and that just happened.